Okay.
That's fine. I just
Okay, we've got numbers. Joyce will talk about numbers.
Sorry.
Some of the sheets I copied are in this book.
Okay.
Some of the information I provided for you are in here.
Before we do get started, Deb, I have some checks here that we can reprocess claims for the hospital under corporate plan. There's about $1,800 there that we've recovered
Okay.
in addition to the negotiated claims, and I wanted to bring those. I wasn't sure.
So we just need to get these to the county treasurer. Okay.
Are you done with the negotiations?
I have one individual that we are still working on, and I'm hoping that we can clear it up. But everybody else we have taken care of. We're out of collections, and so just the one person is all that we're working on. So when we come in here last year and said, we are here for you, we were here. So I did bring information on that if you wanted. But in looking at the numbers, of course, looking at what the current is with United Healthcare and doing a choice plan to where we have the underlying plan and what the renewal is. Now, remember when we talked last year, is that any kind of a renewal, an increase or a decrease is just on the United Healthcare numbers. It doesn't take the other components of the Freedom Choice plan into place. So instead of a 5.52% increase on a $1,000 deductible plan, you're looking at it on the high deductible plan. So we did take it out and looked at Coventry, which is now Aetna, and Assurance, and illustrated those numbers on here. Assurant, you would have had the complete health statements in order to do the underwriting. So those were just what I call pie in the sky numbers. The last three columns is what's important, because last year when we were in here and we looked at the different plan designs, and you being on the partially self-funded plan, with all of these special retentions and the amount of money, and you were in an aggregate, the maximum liability, you were at $1.2 million. So coming in and looking at the plan and what we projected was $454,000. This is based on 7 employees, singles, 8 employee and spouses, and 16 families are these totals. So as your census changes, those numbers will change. But looking on a 4-tier rate, we have projected a total of $454,921. Actual claims, and with claims processed through November, so we only have one more month to go, but this is through November's claims, you're actually at 0.4% under what we projected. And then, of course, part of that premium that you pay goes into reserves to pay claims, and there's currently money in that reserve account. So figuring that back in.
Okay. That was my concern when I looked at the figures, was the reserve program. That is our money, the
Correct.
county's money?
You bet.
Okay.
That is your money.
I don't wanted to make sure I understood that part.
It is.
Okay.
So part of that premium that you pay, part of that goes into reserves to pay those claims underneath that $5,000 deductible. And currently with that money in reserves, that is the county's money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did on the last column, is because you have that money there. If you would have been on a fully insured plan with a carrier and you just paid that premium every month, it's all throwaway money. You're not building any reserves. So with figuring that money that you have in reserves back in here, because that's money that you have saved, actually comes into a decrease of minus 5.06% under what we projected.
Where would that figure be in here?
Yeah, that is over here in the very last column.
Okay.
So this is figured in with the
All right.
reserves that you have in your account. And had it been a fully insured plan, that would have just been all throwaway money.
Okay.
So with that, you're at, based on that count, at $431,000.
And that includes all costs.
That includes all components. And I know, earlier when you look at total numbers, and I know in some of the money that was requested on claims and looking at total was the negotiated claims that we did on corporate plan. And like I said, we are down to one person, and hopefully towards the end of that one.
So did we pay you guys directly for the negotiated claims that you did with corporate plan? Or did we pay, how did we pay for that? Out of what account? Because that's where the question is with me, because these checks that I went off of are directly to there. So I just,
They had to come into our account through
Okay.
Freedom Claims for us
Okay.
to be able to
Shows Freedom
process
Claims
the
being
checks.
paid, the big cost.
okay.
So if you actually, we're going to jump ahead, if you go behind the first tab, this will show you the claims that we paid. It's the top benefit by group, and it's behind the first tab. This is going to show you total claims that was ran through our system. If you looked up the first tab, it's this report here. This includes all the negotiated claims. So when you look, and this is money that when we process those claims through our system, we had it on a register just like we did with your other claims, but we kept them separate in our system. So the number one, we have old claims, claims prior to plan inception, the 171,410. Those were claims that were negotiated that were included in the money that we requested from
Yeah.
Cheyenne County.
But it would have gone through for all.
But it did come to us because we adjudicated those claims through our system. Some of them we did right away, and some of them it took us a
Yeah.
little bit of time. We're persistent. So it's kind of like, I know there was some question from the employees when we first come up here, you know, to let them know that we would be here to help, that I hope that we've shown to you that we have been here for everyone and to answer questions.
And when you get to the next page, I want to address something on the risk management fee. This is something that when we came in, well, I think it was May of the year before, but when we came in, as Commissioner Colling knows, we didn't have reports from the corporate plan. We didn't have anything to go on. So
Right.
we went through and said, when we did our calculations and presented that we were going to go a certain percentage of the percent of savings. At that point, we didn't know, obviously, how well your plan was going to work, because there's many times that a percent of zero is still zero. But we wanted to negotiate and adjust this management fee, okay, because it's something that we feel we need to come down on, because we didn't realize how well, we didn't know what we couldn't
Yeah,
get
we
reports
didn't-
to say, okay, this is how they've been tracking, and we had all those claims at the first, and we were trying to figure out where this was gonna, so we did our standard, and we're gonna come off the standard, because it is one.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Alicia. This is the number, this is the dollar amount that we paid for the outstanding claims from corporate plan, $171,410.19. Is that correct?
And that is part of it. That's the bulk of them. If you go down here and you look at, there's number, bear with me here, and I can tell you what number.
Is it 39?
Let me find it here, Commissioner Sullivan, I can tell you. Actually, yes, it is. It's 171 plus the discount, number 3, the negotiated rate. We were doing that for a percent of savings, so it'd be the two of those. Where it's broke down is on the next report by provider on how we pay those claims. Number 1 was Hayes Medical Center.
Okay.
Number 8 was Eagle Med. So those is how we process the claims, yes.
Okay, so this is how much money Cheyenne County has paid to negotiate, correct? Or not negotiate, to pay off the old corporate, $171,000?
Right.
So on my numbers that I had, you were saying that was with that. But if I take that number plus the other number, I come up with $626,000. I guess I don't understand. I'm a numbers guy. And maybe, I'm not into this pretty in depth. I just want to know the total number that we've actually paid for our insurance up to this year, not what we've paid. Well, we got the total of what we've paid to settle up debts. Thank you ladies for doing that, by the way. And,
That would be in this column
Yes.
here.
yes, right,
So
right.
if you look, that's what you pay for everything.
431,814.
Right.
But I don't know where this 554,000 came up. I mean, these are, I don't know that we paid those out of this, is what I'm saying. I need a clear-cut answer to how much we've actually paid to Freedom's Claims and United Health Insurance, total number. And that's what I asked at that one meeting. I need to know what the total is to offer your desk, because there's some confusion to me. $431,000 is what our whole plan was this year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But my numbers are different, and your explanation was these numbers are included in the 171,000.
Yeah, I don't know about, that part of it. I know that if you're showing the money that was paid to Freedom Claims on there, that some of those had to be for negotiated claims, to pay those claims, because this is the actual dollars.
Okay, and don't think I'm picking on you.
No,
we don't know.
and I would be
We don't know,
happy.
we just don't.
I would be happy to sit down with Dolores and go through that to find out what.
And these came through Dolores.
I think that the reserve is where the problem is, on the understanding, is where the money is. How much is in that reserve? What have we been paying in?
That we're going to get back.
On a monthly basis. And then if we could look at that, I think it would clarify up a lot of the problems.
And I would agree, because you have to know that with that money in reserves,
Sure.
it's accounted for here, but it's sitting in the bank
Yeah.
to where that might be some of the difference in there.
What is where is the reserve on here? I'm sorry.
This is figured back in with what you have into reserves of breaking it down over a period.
Okay. Okay, so take that out of that.
So
No, that's fine.
there would be almost like an escrow account. There's
Correct.
still a bunch of money that belongs to the county in that reserve account.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So part of the premium that you're paying, that we projected, is going into the reserves account. And getting back, in the plan that we designed for the employees was $1,000, and then it was 80/20 to 1,500. So maximum out of pocket, not counting your co-pays, is $2,500. You have your office visit co-pays, and you have your prescription co-pays. So we were able to design that plan underneath there by having the Freedom Choice plan. So it isn't like you had to go with a cookie cutter plan. And again, we added the vision, everyone gets an eye exam in here. So we were able to do that. And what we look at groups is getting through that first year, because when you guys come in January 1 and we come in January 1, not having any claims experience, it was unknown where we're going to be. We've had 1 year. And I can tell you, groups that's been on the Freedom Choice plan for 2 or 3 years, after the second year and getting that reserves built up, knowing where your claims are, then you're able to come in and add more benefits. We've had groups add long-term care. We've had them add short-term disability. Or look at, the going out of, they're out of pocket, decreasing, but giving that back to benefits to the employees. So making that money that you build every year into reserves as a benefit back to the employee.
Or there is some that have built up so much in the reserves, they don't have to fund the reserve anymore.
Right. So they don't even put money into the reserves anymore, which reduces that first year.
Which is,
And I've got groups that are no longer funding because they have well enough in there to way over maximum.
No, that's that Freedom Claims. That's the bill to Freedom Claims. This is just the account that it gets deposited in at the bank, because that's what, and Dolores never closed that out because we were paying old claims out of that account.
Okay.
So now the reserves, that is the reserves.
Are you looking at this too?
Yeah,
Okay.
And that's what I was trying to explain last time. Probably when we redo those accounts at the beginning of the year, that probably needs to be renamed because it's very confusing.
Yeah.
But that's, when we pay the
Yeah, I
Freedom
remember
Claims bill, it
her
goes into.
suggesting that we rename it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's set up as a payment, computer to computer, or bank to bank, so, yeah, okay. I understand that.
No, no. And if there, as far as how the checks came in and for which claims, would be happy to sit down and, do an accounting on the exact claims that came in. The amount on the 171,000 is what went through our system on the negotiated claims.
Plus the Eagle. Plus the Eagle.
That was just a breakdown of 171,000.
Yeah, that's the old claim right here on top. Okay.
And so coming in from the plan that you were on, looking at maximum cost of $1.2 million down to what you're actually paying
431,
has been substantial savings to the county.
about 800.
And I foresee that getting more and more in control of the claims and knowing where those claims are going, a second year into this plan would be very beneficial, and to see those reserves grow.
Do you want to step down for us and maybe go over some of those?
I would be happy to.
Commissioner Foley, something?
Yes, like I said, I would be happy to sit down and go through to come up with the figures that you've got there, kind of
And
break
back
down.
into
yeah,
the.
I would like to, because my thing, we didn't have numbers going in before the 60 days, and I was going on the 470,000.
County was able to, if that's the same thing as what you have, Brad.
And anyway, so I do have quite a few questions. I just, if this number's right, there would have been no way I would have, stayed with it if we would have known that. If my calculations, but your calculations are nice. So,
Very nice.
yes, so I just want to make sure that
Maybe you can help back in and see where if you add the 171 on with that. Is that-
well, I did that 171 back onto there, and that's what I did. So I'm gonna have to look at these numbers pretty, I'll go back over through
Okay.
things, but, it just,
Do you want to set something up now to go when your schedule is, that we could come back and go over what you have some detail and Julie has some?
well, either that or I can look over the numbers and then I can call you guys.
Sure,
Julie,
you
or
bet.
you or Alicia and go over it. I just, it's just, we didn't have any numbers before other than your projection on not this one, but the one that I have. And that had projected 470, but that didn't take into consideration that we were going to get some back on the reserve.
Correct.
So when I'm sitting there looking at that, I go, that's not so bad. Then I asked Dolores for the numbers and I add them up. And then we had to do an average of these numbers, which came out to this. And then we added those together, which was 216.43. And the same thing over here. And we came down here. And this one is Freedom's Claims and this one's United Healthcare. So we are paying United Healthcare separately. And that's where the confusion lies. So anyway, that's why we got 321,000 here and then 216,000, and that's where the 537.96, and I took the 3% increase, which is 554.90, and so I came in here thinking that numbers weren't correct. So
Right.
that's where I want to come out and I want to see, because if I hope this isn't right, because, okay, but I do want to, I'm like a bird dog, I'll just keep on
No,
until I
and
figure it out.
I like you, I'm a numbers
She
person,
is.
so to get you to that comfort level, knowing that that's the cost are, and you'd come up with what, 534?
No, 537,962.
Okay,
And that is with the 321, and your sheet is different than mine, because I don't think any of mine has 294, which, okay, and that's got the most recent one. 294, and this is United Healthcare, and then 162, and then has this got? I think that's only got 9 months. And the SP Freedom's claims. So I just want to know where we're at the end of the year, because that's what I was basing all my projections on. So
Correct, and we can do that. We will get you to that comfort level.
that's different.
And all of these
Yeah, you can have that.
Well, that was hers.
Well, okay, here's another one.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that we're, yeah.
We
guys
want
are-
you to be
Pass it
comfortable,
down to the
Commissioner Coleman. We want all of you to be comfortable with what we're doing. We want you to feel very confident that what you're reading is the way it is, and that's the 431 that we were talking about. But if you can help him get into those.
I will do that.
would be great.
And I can pull, and like we talked at the beginning of last year, anytime that you see any accounting reporting, any claims reporting, in totals, we're able to run any kind of report. So what I will do, Commissioner Pulling, is go back, and Commissioners, and to pull the accounting through. We also track all this through QuickBooks. And I can print you reports out of there to match it up to bring it to this 431.
Another thing I just thought of that might be helpful on your little spreadsheet here.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps if you had one column that showed how much each month we were putting into that reserve account, plus next to it how much remaining in there, then that would clarify a lot of questions, I think. What do you think, John?
I agree.
We can do
I think you could probably do that with the data system.
And these calculations don't have the reserve in on it, or taken off of it, evidently, because I still have it at 456. So when I add these two numbers, I have a lot of questions.
That's okay. We want you to have questions for us. That's what we're here for. And we want you to feel comfortable with that, with basically not having a renewal increase, so to speak, if we add in the reserves. And then, if we don't add in the reserves, we're only talking a few points. So now, the next question would be is on the employee benefit plan. There's what the employees have. Like Julie was saying, we have $1,000 deductible, and that's in the very back of your packet there. We always include that to show what the employees have. They
It's
have
behind the third.
third tab, sorry. They have $1,000 deductible, 80/20, 1,500, so a maximum of 2,500 out of pocket. We've heard from most of the employees are very happy with the plan, but that's always an option for you guys. Your renewal came in very, very good.
So basically, looking at what you're doing, even though you got the 5% increase from United Healthcare, you could look at a 0% increase and keeping the same benefits.
We have 5% increase or 3.
It was a 5.52.
Oh, okay. I had 3.
Yeah,
I
that
had
was
3 written
someplace I
down.
saw that.
I had 3 written down.
With United, on just the umbrella policy, that because of the other components of it, you could come in and basically you're at 5% under what was projected. So you could come in basically at a rate pass of 0% increase overall with the Freedom Choice Plan, keeping the benefits where you currently have them. And again, that premium that you're paying is a portion of that is being put in reserves every month that you're billed.
And that's that column that Commissioner Radcliffe said would be good to put on the side.
And we can do that.
And Commissioner Gardner agreed on that one too.
Okay.
Yes, before. So when we designed the plan, we tried to do a plan in between because you had a dual option for the employees last year to come in to try to get the co-pays, and get their out-of-pocket in between what you had last year. So that's where we designed the $1,000 deductible and then the 80/20 plan with the co-pays. And again, if you want to look at benefit changes, That's the nice thing about the Freedom Choice Plan, is that you can keep the umbrella policy carrier where it's at, and you can design this underlying plan. And that's where, once you can get through that first year and you get a feel of where your claims are, and going into the second year and seeing those reserves build more. And again, that's where some of the employers come in and say, okay, we have $1,000 deductible, 80/20 to $1,500 out of pocket. So what we're going to do is we're going to reduce that to $1,000 deductible, 80/20 to $1,000 out of pocket, because you've been able to save money in that year that you can increase
But normally
benefits.
that comes in year 2
2
and
or
3.
3. Yes.
But I do want to reiterate that we will be adjusting, on the risk management too, because we have nothing to work from to come up with where you guys would be running, and you're running very, very good. So that will be an adjustment, yeah. On the cost.
Yeah, our budget for that for next year. Do you remember
Pardon?
how much did you increase the budget for next year?
We straight lined the budget.
What
Well,
is
yeah.
it? How much more? Oh,
Did you raise it more than that amount?
we
No.
got paid out.
Well, then we're gonna be running behind, because
No,
that's
no.
5.2%.
We're okay on that.
I'll try to make sense of that.
And I would be happy to give you whatever you need to come up to the figures, to show you a breakdown on, and I can do administrative costs, I can do the claims, and the United Healthcare numbers, and pull that all together, and work with
Yes,
these amounts here.
and see where they,
I think we put 650 in there, 650,000.
Well, I meant how much more did you jack it up? Because you better jack it up that much or we're running short.
Yeah, they go through the same, yeah.
So Commissioner Colleen, just let me know.
650,000.
And I will, when I get back to the office,
Okay.
then we'll get the detail, and then we can get
That'll cover
together
it.
so we can
Yeah,
get
we're
that
grand over, so
Yeah.
for you.
there's my bottom line figures for next year, right there.
about budget.
Yeah.
I got the talk.
And I think that's about where we're gonna come in this, well, we'll be a little higher than that this year, won't
Well, that's
Hey, did you have any
with
questions?
5.2%.
we? Okay.
You're gonna go
Yeah.
up.
So we're gonna have,
We're good.
yeah.
Don't forget to call that doctor and choose that.
Yeah, I will. He's on the top of my list.
Anything else that,
Okay, here's where we're at, through last month. So if you add November into there, in
It's gonna be
December,
close.
say, we're still gonna be very good. Right now, this report is through October 30th, but we've got a balance of 200,000. We're not gonna use all of that in 2 months.
I want you to go, but I want to make sure that Commissioner Colleen is comfortable.
Oh, definitely, we will, yeah. I appreciate your time,
Thank you,
and
Jen.
we will be in
Yeah.
touch on the totals.
But Commissioner Miller said, let us know for the rebid next year, that way we have all the information.
Oh, you bet, you bet.
Because you understand why we have questions, so.
And and I can understand when you come from the plan that you had on the self-funded level and where you were, not knowing where you were, that, I mean, you get a little skittish on making sure that you want to know where those numbers come from and how the plan works. And we are here to get you to that comfort level so that you know where every dollar is spent. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out.
Yes,
I do
certainly.
have one thing for the commissioners for information. I've been working with John Mays today, actually I came back from the training yesterday. Our hospital has been given more money this year than is allowed by the budget.
Okay.
And what caused it was we had a very good year on taxes
Taxes,
returned. So John is gonna get with me and with the treasurer next week. We'll have to amend the budget. We'll have to advertise it. We'll have to have a hearing, but we've gotta cover ourselves for the, difference that's in the budget. And it's a procedural thing, but nonetheless, we have to do it. But I wanted my fellow commissioners here to know this.
And Deb, we let the paper know, so everybody knows when we do that.
Yeah, I will.
Okay,
Can I address a question to the board?
Yeah.
So I take it that you guys signed the contract for Freedom's Health claim for the calendar year?
I didn't sign it.
they did last year.
We didn't have to, it was an automatically renewed.
So where are we at, what status is now, what I'm getting after?
We will use them for another year.
That's what I'm getting after.
Yeah.
So we signed the contract for the next calendar year.
Not for the next.
You say yes, and
A contract was signed a year ago. There was a 60-day clause in there. It is automatically renewable.
It's
So
automatically.
anytime that this board decides to change carriers, that decision needs to be made before the 60
in
days.
advance of, okay. That's
In
what I
advance of the
clarified that.
60 days.
That's why
Otherwise, your contract locks you
Next
into
year,
that.
we bid it again.
I didn't hear that.
So that's why I told Brent, tell them next year they'd have to rebid it again. We didn't want him that 60-day renewal thing. Automatically renewed.
Okay. I thought you had to renew it,
And sign it.
assign it prior,
and that's-
2 months in advance for the end of the calendar year.
That's where the confusion came in, because I started working with her a long time ago, and then we'd asked for the total number, and we were never given the total number, and that's where my argument lied, and that's what I was telling County Attorney Fedoni before he left. And so I questioned the viability of the contract because we weren't given the numbers to play with. I like to see, and that's when I started doing my homework, and I still don't quite know where we're at. But that's where this is. So, does anybody else have any questions?
I guess my question would be, and to simplify it for everybody, is what do we pay a month minus the, I guess, what's the bottom line? Per month, what do we average for the last 10 months now?
My numbers come up different from theirs, so I can't.
To me, that would be an important number. Whether it's going into reserve or wherever, what are we paying?
I had the help of a guy that does it all the time, and I came up with different numbers, so.
That's kind of the number I want to know if I read these three.
Well, that's.
What we're looking for.
Yeah. Did you
And
get it?
that's my whole.
Not yet.
Okay. I thought maybe I missed it.
Yeah,
Well, you missed a lot of stuff, good.
That's a fact.
As a physician, I've always liked Blue Cross. I've had trouble getting health care on medication, so anyway, I moved to, or you've got to make a motion.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Are there any decisions out of this meeting? Or is it strictly
Sorry,
informational?
what's that other
May
one?
I have one more thing? We got tied up with the health renewal, but you have an advanced life policy to renew. So there's no change from last year to this year, and I wanted to just get this to Deb before you adjourn the meeting. For the life insurance, that's the benefit right there, the renewal summary. You've had it for a very long time here, and we would need you to sign it to renew it.
Yeah, we renew those every year. That's that $20,000 life insurance policy that the county carries on every employee.
Is that the commissioners?
Yes, yes.
20,000. They're only giving me 5. I'm 73.
Shouldn't have told us your real age. Now we can go back to the company and say, did you know
I read that contract. Us old guys don't get anything.
You know, I have learned that aging is just no fun.
In the group.
Getting older is no fun.
What did it do actually? It cut it in half because of my age?
It reduces at 65 and then further at 70.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
remember that.
Thank you.
I remember
My
that.
pleasure. I'm very happy to visit your
All right,
lovely.
Yes.
can we move to adjourn now?
Do I have a second?
We gotta have a motion to sign that, I made it.
Oh, I make a motion that we sign the life insurance contract.
Yes, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Okay, now, I make a motion that we adjourn.
And I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Quite a bit.
November 20th. Adjourned at
You got to work here.
4:05 p.m.
It's important. I mean, number one item on your budget. Like,
I'm around here all the time.
Cool.
So, have a great weekend. Thank you, Deb. Thanks for